Khris Middleton has agreed to re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. Terms 5 years, $178 million. To put this in perspective, he'll average $35.6 million a season. Kyrie Irving, if he leaves the Celtics, and all indications are that he will, would sign for $35.2 million per season. All right, Reed Forgrave, Tim Doyle coming back in. Tim, let me get you first here. Look, you're worth what someone's willing to pay you, and I know Milwaukee had a really good year and sort of wanted to keep the band together, but Khris Middleton, 5 years, $178 million. I say those are the terms. You say what?
He's a perfect fit. Makes 2.5 threes a game, shoots close to 39% from three. He defends extremely well. I'm not sure he's the Robin to Giannis's Batman, but he's like a mini Robin. Like, I think you need to get one more guy. But when you have a guy like Giannis, as we saw in the playoffs, you have to surround him with the right pieces. Is that money absurd? No doubt about it. But that's the NBA, so I don't get caught up with money right now. I look at X's and O's, and he's a perfect fit to play alongside of Giannis. They have a brand there. They guard, they have great length, and you're going to have guys that can knock down shots because Giannis is going to repeatedly get in the lane and draw attention. So they have an identity. He fits the identity. The money's crazy, but I think a very good investment.
Reed, yeah, the money is certainly crazy. 5 years, 178. The thing here, he had an all-star season, Reed, but he was inconsistent against the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. So what's essentially, is this a guy you're going to expect a 20-point, 10-rebound game every night in the playoffs, or are you just going to kind of like, we'll see what happens? He's going to be Pascal Siakam, have a really good game one night, and then be kind of nowhere to be found another night.
He was inconsistent on the offensive end, but part of that was tied to the fact that he was putting down so much effort, like defending Kawhi Leonard on the defensive end, where he was absolutely key. He was key for the Bucks all year long. Remember, this was the NBA's top-rated defense. As much as we want to talk about what Mike Budenholzer did with this Bucks team was find Giannis and just surround him with the perfect players and have Giannis drive the lane and have 4 shooters around him. The key to this team was actually the defensive end, and Khris Middleton was huge for that. I agree with pretty much everything Tim just said. This is a perfect fit. Yeah, it seems like absurd money, but it's short of a max deal. And let's be honest, look at this Bucks team. The game 3 against the Raptors, 6 minutes left. Kyle Lowry fouls out. They should have won that game. They didn't. If they had won that game, that team would have gone to the NBA Finals. And I thought they had a really good chance against the Golden State Warriors. Could have won the NBA title. I'm glad that this team is trying to bring the band back together. We'll see what sort of offer sheets come in for Malcolm Brogdon. But I think the John Horst, NBA Executive of the Year John Horst, should be absolutely applauded for doing both this and securing Brook Lopez on a 4-year deal.
So considering they are with Brook Lopez and with Khris Middleton, according to reports, keeping the team and that core pretty much intact, and what you've talked about last year in the playoffs and maybe a little bad luck here, a little bad luck there, Tim Doyle, is Milwaukee the best team in the East given where everything has fallen and how we expect it to fall over the next few hours and next few days?
Hey, talk about putting the band back together. I'll say it, all right? Orange whip.
Orange whip. 3 orange whips.
No doubt about it. Reed makes a great point. You know, the Bucks, that series easily could have been 3-0, and then Milwaukee's walking to the NBA Finals. Instead, that became like an avalanche in the series. Reed and I were up there, game number 5, and you could just feel the pressure, not only on the court, but in the arena of like, oh, we got to win this game because we don't want to go to game 6. And they lost, and obviously we all know how the rest played out. A couple guys got injured on the Warriors, and the Raptors might be the worst team ever to win an NBA Finals, right? That would have been the Bucks. So I applaud the Bucks for looking around being like, we got a pretty good system here in place. Let's not go crazy a la the Brooklyn Nets and sign guys with torn Achilles and guys that broke up locker rooms. I like that the Bucks have an identity. They have a foundation, and I would like to be, forget about Al Horford. How about being Khris Middleton? That is one rich man.
Reed, what does Khris Middleton do better than any other player in the NBA?
I mean, he's like 3-and-D to perfection. He like I said, defends at a really, really high level. And he's a scorer. He averaged, 19, 20 points per game last season for an offense that was so much fun to watch. But let's be honest, what is the Milwaukee Bucks ceiling right now? Their ceiling is NBA champion. Their ceiling this past season was NBA champion. I gave them about a 20% chance of unseating a healthy Golden State Warriors team. How does that ceiling get higher? It's by retaining all these players, but most importantly, it's about Giannis expanding his game. He just won the MVP award at age 24, and he readily admits, and people around the Milwaukee Bucks organization readily admit, that he is nowhere near a complete basketball player. Giannis, with a three-point shot, which he started showing later in the season, put that on the Bucks. This team is, I think, the best team in the NBA with an even better Giannis.
All right, so is there any part of you that doesn't like this move? Both of you have been pretty glowing when it comes to Khris Middleton getting essentially $36 million a year from the Milwaukee Bucks, which when you say it out loud, you go, okay, but you've talked about the fit. You've talked about the fact this is, kind of the mortar, not the bricks that keeps this team together. Is there anything that you don't like about this deal, Tim?
No, I don't. I mean, would you rather have Kawhi Leonard than Khris Middleton? Of course. But let's not forget, the great city of Milwaukee, founded by the Algonquins, according to Alice Cooper in Wayne's World, does not draw free agents. Like, when's the last time you heard a free agent be like, you know where I need to go? Milwaukee. Like, nobody says that. So the fact that they already have the guy in the organization, they have Giannis, they have to push all in. Like, now's the time. That's why you got to give the organization credit. Like, all right, we have a guy that fits. Would we like to have Kawhi Leonard instead of Khris Middleton? Of course, but Kawhi Leonard's not even going to take a meeting with Milwaukee because they don't make sense from a business perspective. So I love Milwaukee. Go up there, Summerfest. The beers in Chicago are $8. They're $4 in Milwaukee. The only thing about Milwaukee is that cheese sticks to the hips a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's called the good land, as you pointed out in Wayne's World, and we're not worthy, but Milwaukee could be worthy next year. You pointed out and you said, okay, I'd rather have Kawhi Leonard. For Milwaukee, would you have rather had Kyrie Irving? Because we talked about the salary. They're basically making the same thing. So I'll put both of you on the spot. Who's a better fit right now? Give me a little perspective here. Would you rather have Khris Middleton or would you rather have Kyrie Irving? Read your first.
No, you don't want to blow up this entire locker room and what they've built. Here's what it comes down to. I think ultimately this is pretty simple. Khris Middleton's been assumed for a very long time that he would come back to Milwaukee. I think the fact that John Horst got him for a little bit less than a max is a financial win for the Milwaukee Bucks. But this is a championship window that has opened in Milwaukee. It opened this season. Let me say that again. A championship window that has opened in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Not exactly a prime free agent destination. Whether you want to get Kyrie Irving or Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James to come to Milwaukee, doesn't matter. They're not coming. Giannis has said he loves Milwaukee, and they need to prove to him over the next couple seasons before he becomes an unrestricted free agent that they are ready to win here. I think this is the perfect move for them. If they get Malcolm Brogdon, I give and look, there's plenty of speculation that Malcolm Brogdon is going to get a really big offer sheet. But if they get Malcolm Brogdon to come back as well, run back the exact same team from this past year, I think that John Horst then gets an A+ for his offseason.
Totally agree with the moves Milwaukee is making right now. They were so close last year. They have a brand. They have an identity. They have one of the biggest freaks in all sports right now, and they were oh so close. So I applaud them kind of keeping the band together. I know we've used that time and time again, but you look at the Eastern Conference, and Eric, I thought it was an interesting question you hit me with to tee it up. Is this the best team in the Eastern Conference? I say yes, because they bring back a team that knows who they are from an identity standpoint. In my eyes, the clear-cut favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference going into the 2019-2020 season.
All right, I like it. So we'll end it there with a bold prediction that Milwaukee is the favorites because they basically stood pat and kept everybody and brought everybody, Lopez, Middleton, and oh, by the way, they have the Greek guy in the middle who's pretty good, so they should be somebody who could be heard from as we get ready as all this free agency. It may be the team that just kept their guys that end up getting it done.